Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, as you listen to this episode, I could be 40,000 feet in the air on my way to the GPEC event in Arizona. Don't worry, I'm not like Mr. T or anything. I'm not afraid of flying or even rattlesnakes, so I'm sure everything will go to plan. And a big thank you to Peter Winters, who tweeted me to say, Arizona is beautiful. Sedona especially. His brother and sister are there, he tells me. And he also says GPEC is interesting. Neil, forget Brexit, trade sanctions and market pandemonium. You guys are collaborating to move the tech world forward. A massive belated Happy New Year to you. Thanks, Peter. Now, as a regular listener to the show, you know where I stand on the B word by now. Why would we want to be a small, isolated island in a world of tech that enables us to collaborate seamlessly with anyone, anywhere in the world? Is completely beyond me, but that's for another episode. Keep it vanilla, Neil. Never talk about religion or politics. But I am fascinated by how GPEC are inviting tech talent from all over the world, and I look forward to explaining more about that next week. But right here, right now, as Fatboy Slim might say, I wanted to find out more about how new data from DataStax has actually found that consumer patience for retail is wearing extremely thin, especially during the holiday season recently, where nobody has any time to waste. And I also want to talk about where personalization is needed most and discuss their international survey of over 5,000 consumers. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to California so we can speak with Eric Brown, the VP of Corporate Marketing and Communications at DataStax. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Ed. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Eric Brown. I'm the VP of Corporate Marketing at DataStax. I'm on the Forbes Communications Council, and I'm also the host of the DataStax podcast. This is about year 25 for me in Silicon Valley, and every year is still exciting.
Now, when I was researching you, I've done done a lot of research on the company DataStax, but how did I miss that you've got your own podcast? How did you get that one past me?
We still don't have a big enough audience for the DataStax podcast. And so for any of your listeners who want a technical deep dive on trends in data management, hybrid cloud databases, and what's going on in the world of NoSQL or open source Cassandra, DataStax is the place to go.
Fantastic. And what kind of topics do you discuss on there, just out of interest?
We discuss customer case studies and what enterprise businesses are doing with their enterprise data layer. We discuss trends in open source Cassandra. We discuss what's happening in hybrid and multi-cloud and the best way to architect databases and data solutions for that. We cover what's happening in the world of graph databases. We talk about search and how that impacts the world of data management. And so if somebody is a real hardcore data enthusiast, then the DataStax podcast series is for her or him.
So for people just tuning in and hearing about DataStax for the very first time, my understanding is that DataStax delivers the always-on, active everywhere, distributed hybrid cloud database that is built on Apache Cassandra, like you mentioned a few moments ago. But can you tell me a little bit more about this foundation for personalized real-time applications, but at massive scale, and also how DataStax Enterprise makes it easier for enterprises to exploit those hybrid and multi-cloud environments?
The database market is dominated by relational databases and the old school databases that everybody is using. And those are great for a variety of things that are more static in nature. There are also a lot of database companies that do things for data lakes and data pools and data that is gathered, amalgamated, and analyzed for long periods of time, days, months, weeks, and even years, sometimes decades in some of these databases to find trends in big data. What we offer is very different. We offer a database solution that is designed for modern applications that require what we call CARDS attributes. That's CARDS. Those applications are contextual, always on, real-time, distributed, and scalable. And that ability of DataStax Enterprise to give real-time insights right now, lightning fast, on what a customer wants, what a business needs, really separates us. So this is not about data over years, which is not always relevant to you, but data in the moment that you absolutely need to make your banking experience better, your retail experience better, to make your energy company more responsive to what you need to heat your house in the winter and cool your house in the summer. All of that is really about real-time data. The opportunity for enterprises looking at doing these modern applications built on real-time data happens to also coincide with this massive migration to the cloud and cloud computing and cloud services. And so at the same time, you need to rethink your enterprise data layer to make it fit those cards' attributes. You also need to think about how you can make the most of your cloud investments to make sure that your cloud infrastructure, your database infrastructure, your enterprise data layer are all optimized and working perfectly together. And we are the leaders in making that happen. We have the most real-world experience in doing this in Apache Cassandra environments and around these cards attributes and for modern applications. And we're really excited to bring that expertise and experience to the world.
And it really is so important now because we're living in a world where Amazon, Netflix, Spotify, and Uber all make it easy for us to get our hands on almost anything within a few swipes of our smartphone. So as a result, customer expectations are rising and periodization is a big, big topic. So do you think consumer patience for retail is wearing thin with retailers now who are still just stuck in the past and that old style of service?
I think the short answer is yes. And it's not just retail, it's in banking, it's in other financial services applications, it's in mortgage services, it's in, again, as I said, I mentioned an earlier example of when you contact your utility company, whether it's water or power, you want instant gratification. We all want our problem solved fast. We want everybody to know what we've done transactionally with a company in the last day, in the last 2 minutes, in the last year. And we want them to use that data to give us unique insights to solve our unique problems. And the smartphone applications are the ones that kind of started addicting us to that right now, it's all about me experience. But what we found is that customers expect that type of experience, that type of responsiveness, that type of intelligent use of data for every single company they're interacting with, whether it is a digital native or a company that's been around for decades.
Now, one of the reasons I invited you on the show today was after coming across DataStax's international survey, which was of over 5,000 consumers. So can you tell me a little bit more about why you decided to launch this survey?
We really wanted to explore what adults expect or require from the brands they do business with today. So we pulsed consumer sentiment around three concepts: real-time interactions, personalization and customization, and finally the power of digital recommendations. We call all of this the me culture, which we also ended up using as the survey title. We worked with Harris Poll to survey 18-year-old and up adults in the US, the United Kingdom, France, and Germany. And we asked a variety of questions such as, how long will you wait for services, including food delivery, waiting for a movie to download on your favorite streaming service, how long you'll wait for customer service at a retail store, how long you'll wait in the digital world for similar services, how much more money you're willing to spend for faster or better or more personalized service, and in which business or commercial scenarios personalization is most important. We also pulsed something that is slightly controversial, especially in a world of where we all expect digital privacy and safeguards, and in a world that is now post-GDPR, and that is, how much of your personal data are you willing to share to get better recommendations and better personalization? And some of the results were a little surprising.
And some of those results were incredibly surprising. For example, one of the key findings in the report that was nearly 7 in 10, which is 69% of international adults, are willing to spend extra to reduce their wait times for services. I mean, it's something that I must admit I'd done when I went to Florida and the Universal Studios. The idea of queuing 3 hours to go on the Hulk ride at my age is just insane. So I paid extra to skip that line. But I mean, does that surprise you?
You know, it was surprising to see how high the figures are and to know that almost, 70% of adults across the US, the UK, France, and Germany are willing to spend more money. And so people aren't just saying, I want more personalization, and I want it all for free. They are saying, if I find a company who delivers a personalized, customized, bespoke experience for me, I'm willing to pay more money for it. And that, I think, is the real opportunity for businesses of any kind in this me culture and in the economy we see today. It's not just about who has the biggest product selection. It's not just about who can deliver the product the fastest to my door. It's not just about who can give me the lowest price. It's actually about who can recommend and deliver the things that make a unique impact to me in my daily existence. And if you can do that, I'm going to pay more money for it, which is a great opportunity for retailers, banks, anybody working with consumers. And we think, we did not do the pulse on this, but we think based on other data we've seen from our enterprise customers in a B2B context, that personalization is equally important in the business-to-business arena.
And I really sympathise with retailers here because in some situations it seems that they just cannot win because we're used to Spotify, Amazon and Netflix and the personalisation of everything. But if they get that balance wrong, then it's deemed as creepy. So, I mean, when it comes to personalisation, where do you think it matters most to consumers?
I think there's no blanket answer. We all have our passion points for what we care about. I am a huge movie fanatic. I need my movies to download quickly. I need them to be high quality, and I want the recommendation engines to not show me horror films, which are not my thing, but to show me other things that are historical dramas or what I'll call smart comedies. Other people have passions around music. Other people have passions around retail. Some people have passions for travel. I also am a passionate traveler. If I go online and I'm looking for the best hotel in Paris, I don't want the cheapest 2-star hotel. I want a good 4 or 5-star hotel at a good price in a great neighborhood. And I expect my search engines, my apps, my travel websites to all know that about me and separate the wheat from the chaff early so that I don't have to scroll through hundreds of options to get what I actually want. And so I think there's no blanket answer and no magic pill because I think we are all very unique in what we want. And that's the power of a smart enterprise data layer today, intelligently deployed, that you can get those insights and serve them up for hundreds of thousands or millions of consumers at scale and in real time.
Yeah, I completely agree. So when we look back at the report, was there anything else that surprised you in the results?
I think the really two things. Number one, how much personal data people are willing to share if they get something for it. And there's a big split between the US and Europe in terms of how much personal data people are willing to share for a more bespoke or custom experience. Europeans tend to be a little more conservative and cautious, especially in Germany and France, where adults in those countries are not very willing to trade more personal data for a better consumer experience. In the US, though, 53% of adults are willing to trade personal data if it gets them something. The UK is somewhere between France and Germany, who are rather conservative, and the US, which is rather out there in terms of what we're willing to trade for a better, faster, more personalized service. The other thing, in addition to that personal data issue that was surprising to us, is that US millennials are willing to pay more for more bespoke experiences. I think there's this myth and narrative in the marketplace that millennials are incredibly cost conscious, which we interpret as cheap or frugal. I think of them, especially after seeing this data, as being very savvy consumers. In the US, millennials on average are willing to pay 40% more on top of the regular price for a personalized experience. And the final thing that we found surprising is that more international adults across all countries trust a digital source and a digital recommendation rather than a significant other. Now, some people said, well, of course, I go to websites to figure out what movie I want to watch or what game I want to play because my spouse is not a gamer. But we didn't expect the numbers to be this high. In the US, 64% of adults prefer digital to their significant other. In the UK, that number is 61%. In Germany, it's a little over half at 52. And the French are a little different. Maybe they're better at love. Maybe they're better at picking a significant other. But 55% of French adults actually prefer a recommendation from a spouse or a loved one or a good friend as opposed to from digital. So vive la France when it comes to trusting your friends instead of the internet.
Something we could all learn from, I think.
Exactly.
So, I mean, other big buzzwords out there at the moment are machine learning and artificial intelligence. So, how important do you think trends like that are going to be to the retail sector in the near future, do you think?
Those are already huge trends, and the key to them being successful in a retail environment, in a financial services environment, in a transport environment such as with an airline, is to make sure that your enterprise data layer is delivering the real-time, right now insights that are actually important to the consumers, and that the data from what you've done over the last minute or the last day is actually what you're looking for. If I am stuck in an airport because of a snowstorm in Washington, D.C., which almost happened to me this week, I don't care about what the latest fares are back to San Francisco. I don't care about a great deal I can get on a trip to Tahiti in 2 months. I care about what are my options to get out of Washington before the snowstorm hits, and how do I do it without having to pay a lot of extra money to get that seat? And by the way, how do I make sure I still get my window seat so I can sleep coast to coast on the 6-hour flight from DC to San Francisco? That is the opportunity and the promise of a real-time, right now, cards-based enterprise data layer, and machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms and systems have to be trained to know that what I care about in that situation is very different than what I care about when I'm sitting at home looking for vacation bargains. The other thing that everybody needs to be aware of in the realm of AI and machine learning is not to build in the biases that can be built in, and not to just train AI systems to reinforce biases and data trends that already exist, but really to open their artificial intelligence minds, if you will, to new trends, new ways of putting things together, and making sure that these systems really are delivering the unique insights and the unique actions that consumers want. And again, not en masse, but individually, for you, for me, for Neil Hughes, for Eric Brown, not just for middle-aged men working in tech in a broad demographic swath.
And another revealing, unique insight we've learnt there is Eric is a window guy, not an aisle guy.
Yes, absolutely. I would rather be able to sleep against that window for 6 hours and not be bothered. So yes, absolutely.
You see, I'm an aisle guy because I get the slight, tiny little bit more leg room in one leg.
It is true. Yes, in the one leg, and then you kind of shift a bit to make sure that both legs are equally comfortable. So we could travel together. We could share an aisle. It would be great.
Yeah, we'd be
Row
fine.
around. Yes.
So now you're armed with these invaluable insights. How are DataStax helping retailers to create solutions around these new consumer retail trends?
We are really helping them manage the new kinds of data, such as sensor data that's in a store, machine-generated files that come from everything in the world of IoT, and really looking at the brick-and-mortar experience and the online experience to make everything seamless. And a big, iconic, amazing, cutting-edge American retailer, Macy's department store, does great things with DataStax in just that regard. And they're combining what they're getting from the Internet of Things, what they're getting from sensor data in stores, what they have in terms of inventory tracking in every store they have in the United States, plus inventory they have online, plus what customers have bought in the past and what they've been looking for in the last 5 minutes, to say in a very holistic, unified, customized way, Eric, this is what's available if you want it in the next 20 minutes at the Macy's San Jose. And here's what we have for you if you're willing to wait an extra day and get something shipped directly to your home. But it really is that, especially for retailers, it's that merging and melding of the brick and mortar with the warehouse, with the digital experience to make sure that I'm getting exactly what I want in a way that makes me smile and say, wow, Macy's, you're really doing a great job, and I'm going to get that new comforter from you. We also really make it easy for our customers, retailers, and others to enhance their customer experience with a 360-degree customer view. And we make it easy for the back end to transition to a hybrid or multi-cloud and have the absolute best enterprise data layer and database to make that possible. And so whether you're looking at the back-end infrastructure and the back office stuff in terms of enterprise optimization, or you're looking at the customer experience on the front end, which is really what drives the ultimate sale, the ultimate customer delight, we know how to do that in retail for airlines, for streaming services, for banks and financial services companies, and it's been really powerful, and it's really nice to see what we can do to help companies that have been around for decades compete with and win against companies that have been doing these digital things and these sophisticated data things organically since they were formed. And so it's great for me to see that we can help old iconic brands breathe new life into what they're doing and be hugely competitive and hugely compelling in today's economy.
So for anyone listening that wants to find out a little bit more information and dive a little bit deeper into that report, can you just remind the listeners of where they can get hold of the report? Obviously, check out your podcast and also reach out to a member of your team if they've got any questions after our conversation today.
Absolutely. Our website is datastax.com. That's DATASTAX.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at DataStax, and we have a whole wealth of knowledge in terms of what consumers are looking for, and if you need to rethink your enterprise data layer and your enterprise data management, exactly what DataStax Enterprise and Apache Cassandra can do for you.
Well, the report was such an eye-opener for me, and just things like personalization, for example. One of the big things that resonated with me from listening to you there was that there is no one-size-fits-all. We are all unique and got unique requirements. For example, you're the window guy, I'm the aisle guy, and for companies to find those nuances and actually give people more of what they want, it's just so powerful. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on and sharing that report with me today.
Neil, thank you so much. This was a pleasure, and I really enjoyed our conversation, so thank you so much.
There were so many big stats from the report, and I really enjoyed my chat with Ed today. I mean, for example, nearly 7 in 10, 69% of international adults are willing to spend extra to reduce their wait times for services. And those that are willing to pay more will actually shell out another 21% extra just to reduce their wait times. But maybe we shouldn't be too surprised with that, because the amount more and more people are paying a premium price for Amazon Prime just so they can get their hands on things earlier. And also what I found interesting was only 3% of international adults are willing to wait more than 30 minutes for a service at a brick-and-mortar retail store. Welcome to the age of instant gratification. We just want things ASAP. And when it comes to personalisation, it seems it's incredibly important in the world of travel and retail. For example, 57% are happy to personalise hotel stays, 52% air travel, and equally electronics and fashion retail shopping is at 49%. So there's less of that finding personalisation is creepy if it's relevant to you as a unique individual. Real food for thought and quite an eye-opener. But what did you take away from today's conversation? And do you have any insights or expertise that you'd like to add into the conversation too? Well, have no fear. You can do that. That is what this show is all about. And you can reach me directly through email, techblogwriter@outlook.com. Twitter and Instagram is the same username, just @NeilC.Hughes. And please keep those messages coming in. And next time you hear from me, I will probably be in sunny Arizona, where I'll be investigating their tech scene and looking for rattlesnakes. Snakes. Why is it always snakes? Seriously though, a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.